So, all right, episode 100, deck build the Squire, and I can't think of anyone better to be on the show with me than Armies of Mordor. We're gonna have a great show tonight. I've got some great stuff in store for you. We got giveaways galore, giveaways for all of the YouTube followers that posted this week. Everybody in the channel, you might just get something, so definitely stick around. But we also have some awesome stuff to talk about. We had the Set 4 release. We're on the Set 4 weekend. It's really hyped up. We've recently gone on to Steam with Hex. Things are going really great. I've gotten a great opportunity to go and actually handle some social media over at DreamHack next weekend, and so I've been actually working on that and doing some other stuff. We've got a new intro for the show, although it doesn't have sound to show you. It's going to be a great show. Armies of Mordor. Again, thanks so much for everything you've done for the show. You've been on so many shows with me. You are the Andy Richter to my Conan O'Brien. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what you been doing lately? You said you already have all your set 4 cards? You have your play sets already? Or at least the
No, no,
original
no, no,
ones?
no. I was talking about the promos
Oh,
from
the
from
promos.
the
You already have
release
your
events.
promos. Okay, I was
Yeah.
going to say, you had all
No,
your
no,
set
no.
4 stuff already.
No. I am definitely not even close. Like
No.
maybe halfway, but there are some cards I don't even have yet. Like some I have zero.
Right,
So
right.
we're
But you've been
definitely a little bit of a ways. But I've been definitely playing sealed since Tuesday.
right. So you've, of course, had that going on. I've been gearing up for DreamHack. So if anyone's going to be out at DreamHack, come and see me or try to find me or tweet to me or something, and I'll tell you where I am exactly while I'm there. I'm not really allowed to do too much on my own personal Twitter when I'm working there, but I can definitely direct you to where I am if you want to come by and say hello. And then if you drop something for me, I don't know, give you something in Hex. Speaking of which, let's head over and do the YouTube giveaway first. So the YouTube giveaway is going to be really simple this week. Let's go ahead and head over to the show screen. Here we go. Over to the show screen. So we didn't have that many people post this week, and I don't even have to roll dice because the people on YouTube, you simply are going to get any of the cards that you want off of this list. Actually, we'll give you 2 of the cards you choose off of this list just because you're going to have to get to this stuff after and there's going to be some logistics involved. So I'm just going to read down the list. These are all the extra rares and legendaries you have available to you. Also, for people that are around in the channel, stick around after the show because we'll be giving away rares and legendaries off of this list, as well as a primal pack from each set. And let's see, what else can I give away? And I'm going to get somebody a set 4 draft. We'll hook that up as well. So the cards are, I don't have really a drum roll thing, but I've got Fellroot Acorn, Howling Blaine's Bluegrass, Starsphere, Zintist Silk, Construction Plans Ingenuity Engine, Drew's Colossal Walker, Induction Coil, Shrine of Prosperity, Claw of the Mountain God, Demented Demolisher, Endbringer, Hideous Conversion, Infernal Professor, Life Siphon, Wretched Brood, Zarlox the Broodlord, Ascetic Aspirant, Blessing of the Fallen, Hero of Adamath, Judgment, Lixil, the Lixil, Lord Adam, Princess Victoria, Ash Harpy, Inferno, Kindling Skarn, Legionnaire of Gwaine, Lord Alex, Master Theory Crafter, Plan C, Rocket Ranger, Tatalka, Incantation of Ascendance, Lord Ben, Prophet of Lodgon, Sabotage, Battle Beetle, Gigantify, Onslaught, Puck the Dreambringer, Spirit Dance, Verdant Wildebeest, or whatever that is, Wildeboar, Archon of Nulzan, Tectonic Mega Hulk, Warbot Dropship, Alwyn, Canyon Scout, Lady Shimmer, Noble Heart, War Prodigy, Gore Master, Psychic Anarchist, Azure Fate Sorceress, Highlands Magus, Scheme, Shoggoth, Stormcloud, Zodiac Divination, Bellows of Brigadon, Bucktooth Roshi, Constantina, Cottontail Recruiter, Feral Domination, Filk Ape, Genesis Pool Naiad, Parallel Evolution, Charge Colossus, Eternal Sage, Exiled Bard, Fifth Book of Deharness, Scrapyard Megatron, Scroll of Yakuzan, Sin the Aetherdrag Nomad, Disciple of Yazukan, Exarch of the Egg, Fentio the Brood Priest, I got 2 of those, Vampire Princess, 3 of those to give away, Zealous Executioner, All in the Family, Blessing of the Fallen, Deathless Guardian, Deep Gaze Champion, Golden Avenger, Holy Ascension, Il'june's Parade, Martyr, Mist Lord, Purge, Valiant Escort, Ashwood Maestro, Duplicatus Duke, Highlands Black Belt, Mind Pyre, Quash, Soul of Battle, Sunsoul Phoenix, Augur of Syrian, Brood Baron, Scissor-G, Thunderfield Elder, Wakuna Crowfeather, Ageless Trebidor, Balthazar, Carnosaurus, Crocosaur, Druidic Exoshaper, Heart of the Wrathwood, Pupil of Creation, Rhythmic Spiritualist, Titania's Majesty, the banned card from the last set, Army of Myth, Brown Fox Scout, Lawn Paw, Walking Calamity, and Windsinger. Some of those cards I only have 1 or 2 of. Some of them I have like 4 or 5 of. So you just have to request what you want, YouTube people, and then after the show we're going to give away some of those cards to the people that are live. So stick around for those. All right. So go ahead and rewind all of that if you missed it. But congratulations, all the YouTube people. I'll post to you later, and that is what you're going to win. So that was a pretty good list, don't you think? That was
a really long list. There were some good,
I spent
some
40
good
minutes
valuable
writing
cards.
that list, by the way. I actually didn't really write show notes just so I could write that list out. So I hope that everyone.
I almost feel like you should have just made the list in like a TCG browser deck or something,
Maybe,
and that way you could have
probably.
just given them a link.
Yeah, that might have been easier. I need to get smarter and start working smarter instead of harder. But all right, so. On top of that, do you think that we should talk about the news, or should we show the people the new intro? What do people want to see? What do you think? Should we just go with the news?
I want to see the new intro.
You want to see the new intro? Of course, you're going to see it 30 seconds behind everyone else, but all right, let's go ahead and pull up the new intro. So we got to switch screens for this. We'll go to the full screen mode, and I'll go ahead and, yep, we're going to do that, and I have to pull it up in... And we'll go ahead and rewind it all the way, so that way when I pull it in, we'll put it on stop. Actually, we'll do that. We'll make this a full screen. Now this took quite a few hours. There's no sound on it, so it's got repeat on. So let's go ahead and Alt-Enter. Actually, Alt-Enter should be making it full screen, but it's not for some reason. Maybe once I start playing. Okay, so there you go. This is the new intro. There's no sound on it just yet, but this took me about 100 man hours to build, and probably like 200 rendering hours in Blender to build. So I think it came out pretty well. It's going to be pretty awesome once we finally get all the sound on there. My brother was trying to get the sound, but he's a very busy person, so eventually this is what all the people on YouTube are going to see. Is going to be this is the new intro. Nice quick 10-second intro. But yeah, took me quite a while to put it all together. There's also some other stuff on here. The rocks, I'm going to have to credit some people, and then some of the background stuff, the trees and things I actually pulled. Those are models I pulled off of Blend Swap to get that stuff to work. But the actual person model and the sword and the hammer that he's carrying, I built all that stuff myself. So there you go. That is the new Deck Build with the Squire intro. I think it's pretty awesome. Shows you a blacksmith, which is supposed to be representative of me making a sword. I wanted to like have a handover and maybe a fight sequence too, but just didn't have time to build all that stuff. So are you seeing it yet? So what do you think?
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I think the people will like it too. So there we go. That is the new intro. And it's also built out, so it won't just be for Deck Build with the Squire. It'll be other things. When it fades in on that last part, I'll actually build some other stuff to go along with that as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and head back over to the show and talk about some of the new Hex news, because I know that's what people are really here to talk about. So we've got the new format called Evolving Gauntlet, and you've been playing these all day, right? Right, Armies?
Yep.
So how's it been going? Like, how's it work? Talk to me about how it works.
All right, so for the release event, you use 2 set 4 packs, but for normal queues with these, you can use any 2 set 3 or set 4 packs. So they made it really accessible for people who have a lot of set 3 packs and don't have any set 4 packs yet.
Right.
So you open those 2 packs, and you get the rares and the uncommons and commons from those. And you also get 3 other packs generated when you start it that are just commons and uncommons.
Okay.
And then, so basically your starting pool is 5 packs.
Right. So it's almost a sealed.
Almost a sealed. And then you build a deck from that, and once you get your first win, they give you another pack that's opened automatically, and it shows you what the cards are that are in it. And you can add that and change your sealed pool. And then at 3 wins, you get another pack to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then at 5 wins, you cash out, and they give you a pack that isn't opened.
Okay. Well, that's pretty awesome.
If you, or you get 3 losses, and then you're out.
Right. Okay.
Just
so
like normal
just
Gauntlet.
like normal Gauntlet. Well, that seems like a lot of fun because it adds that extra deck building element. You can definitely get bigger. You feel like you're leveling up. I love it, especially as a deck builder. I think it's going to be great. I think everyone's going to like it. So what's the total cost of it again? Like at the beginning?
It's 2 packs and 100 plat.
2 packs and 100 plat. I was told that there's a way to. I was told there was a way to do it with just 1 pack, but then if you do, you can do 2 packs. Is that true or not?
You could do it with 300 plat in 1 pack or 500 plat if you don't have any packs.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. Let's talk about the first update. So we've got Feast of Abundance this weekend. So just for logging into the game, you're going to get this awesome sleeve, which is the Feast of Abundance sleeve. It's it's an interesting one. It's got I guess some springtime flavors to it with the bird. I haven't seen this bird card in game. I can't think of what it's related to. Do you know? Besides this cheeky songbird down here, I guess it's just this card pretty much.
Yeah,
right?
that's the new card. It's part of the Wild Diamond Life Gain archetype.
Right.
It has an ability that when you gain life this turn, once per turn, it gets +2/+2.
Right. So you could find a way to gain like small amounts of life multiple times and then buff this guy a lot and maybe swing for the win, possibly.
Well, it's once per turn. So
once per turn.
For that particular card, there are some other cards in the archetype that trigger off of multiple cards.
Right.
But for that particular one, it's just once per turn.
Yeah, it seems like kind of an underpowered card. Most of the time, it's going to be a 2/3, and
well, the champion for the Wild Diamond deck is 3 charges. If a troop would enter play this turn, you gain a health.
right.
So for each troop. So it's pretty easy to, if you're building for this archetype, to gain life like consistently.
Right.
There's a constant for 2 that when it enters play, you gain a threshold, and every time you gain a threshold, you gain 1 life. So like every time you play a shard, you get a threshold. You'll trigger that. You get this. So there are a lot of ways that if you
to do it, yeah.
To do it, yeah.
I just feel like for like they could have top ended it a little bit higher and it would have been better. But then of course it probably wouldn't have been a common. It probably would have been an uncommon.
I mean, if you want a top end card, there's like a 1/4 for 3 that you can empower into being a 2/8 for 6. And whenever you gain health this turn, it gets +3 attack and swift strike.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
And it can trigger multiple times. So if you gain 5 different sources of life, it'll get +15. Or if it's empowered, it'll get +32 or whatever and swift strike. So that card is the card that gets out of hand.
Yeah, this one doesn't. I don't know. This might see some play in limited formats, but I don't know that it's going to see play in constructed. I mean, is that how you feel about it? The cheeky sunbird?
Yeah, I don't know how good the life gain deck is actually going to be in
hard
constructed.
To say.
At least not with this card. I mean, there's like the legendary, the 4/4 for 5, that whenever you gain life, you get a token equal to the size of how much life you gained that turn.
Right.
Like that card's pretty sweet.
Next one on here is the Fruit of Simeon, which is a basic action, 0 cost. When this enters your hand, play it for free. Choose one at random. This is a PvE card, by the way. Draw a card or draw 2 cards. Choose one at random. Gain 1 health or gain 2 health, or gain 3 health or gain 4 health. So it's just a bunch of random stuff.
Choose it's a PvE card.
Yeah, it's a PvE card. It looks like it's getting created from
the Simeon's
Bounty. So it's basically like more deck building, right? As we're playing, right? So this seems to be one of the things that Hex loves to do, is just deck build as we're playing. And Simeon's Bounty is create 5 of those other cards, those Simeon's fruits for 4 and 2 wild thresholds. So I don't know, seems interesting. I guess you're going to get it just by playing PvE right now. Is that how we're going to get this?
I don't believe Feast of Abundance has started yet. I think it starts April 30th or May 1st or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Like this is the
While you're
announcement.
here,
Like it's
rec-
right after the release weekend is done. I think is when it starts.
okay, so the weekend, so it'll be like all month type of thing.
I think it's for a week.
Oh,
I mean, it should have the date on
oh,
in the art.
let's see what we've got down here. Says May 16th, May 2nd to May 16th. So that's like
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
reasonable. So, that's some pretty cool stuff. You can get some cool PVE cards. Get online. Next, we've got some Primal Dawn release celebration. So if you're not here, you're probably playing the Primal Dawn release celebration, and I don't blame you. And that's why it is that we put this out on YouTube later on in syndication, so people can watch it later. You know, but I do appreciate everyone for stopping by. And even if you're watching the show and playing, I support that. You know, I support that. Anyways, the Primal Dawn release celebration is going to work similar to other release celebrations. You're going to be able to play a bunch of draft queues, but they're going to be all Primal Dawn, right? It's just set 4-packs.
Yep, 4/4/4s.
Yep, you'll be able to do sealed gauntlets. You'll be able to do the draft queue. So it's just a bunch of limited formats that you'll be able to play. And when you win in those limited formats, you're going to get the alternate art Lightning Sky Hunter. Now, we haven't talked about this on the show before. It is a 6-cost Diamond and Sapphire Threshold 4 Strength and 4 Toughness troop with flight. It's quick speed, so you can play it during your opponent's end step or during your opponent's phase in response to their attacks.
Typically during their combat, because
Yes.
this readies all your troops with flight and gives them indestructible or invincible this turn. So you can blow them out with this card insanely if you're playing just the all flight deck.
Right.
I've done that in limited this weekend. It is really good.
Right. Yeah, when I look at this card, like, I don't think that I would run it in a tempo deck so much as I would just run it in some sort of a control deck where I would, you know, just play it with some other stuff as another piece of removal that's also a troop. That's typically where I would see play for this, but
I mean, it's protection against sweepers, so if you want to go like heavy into super flight, like they can't extinction if you have 6 open, or they could just nothing will happen.
Right, for sure. The other card that everyone's going to get just by playing each tournament, so you're going to want to play at least 4 tournaments this weekend if you want 4 of these, is a common card, alternate art, Force of the Tomb, 4-cost, 1 diamond threshold, basic action. It says once per turn, when a necrotic troop you control deals damage to a champion, if this is in your hand, you may put this in play for free. And when it comes into play, it says create 2 phantoms and put them into play. Okay, I mean, that's all right, I guess. So you basically deal damage, and then you get to play 2 phantoms for free. I suppose that could be pretty good on some sort of in some sort of a necrotic deck. Now it's going to be a lot easier to play the necrotics because we've got so many things that produce shards easily. We've got the old necrotic shard from set 3, and then we've got a new champion that gives you any threshold you want. Of course, we've got things like Lixil that have been, people have been aching to play Lixil, and the other necrotic from set 1, the 1/1, was it Death something? What is he?
Midnight Shepherd?
Midnight Shepherd, yeah. Everyone's, loves playing Midnight Shepherd, so maybe this will see some play, maybe it won't. How do you feel about this one?
Force of the Tomb is a solid limited card, but unless the mono diamond phantom deck is the thing, I don't see it being that good for constructed. There are some cards that take advantage of the phantoms, so it's possible it could be good. Like if you can go wide with the new Anthem card with the Empower, like maybe that's a deck.
I mean, on turn 2, you could play some sort of a diamond. What do you call
Rush
it?
deck.
Yeah, some sort of a diamond card.
Spiritbound Spy on 1, attack them, have 4 of these in your hand, and then have 8 phantoms. Yeah, like that would be the dream, right?
That's the dream, yeah. I mean, what is that? That's so that on turn 3 you would have, was that
You'd
9
be attacking
power
for
on
9, and if you have the Empower card in your hand, like you could make it 18.
You could ramp into +1/+1 for all of them. So that's basically game on turn 3.
Or you could play the Oath of Valor on Spirits.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I suppose it might have some legs. We'll see. Only time will tell. I definitely think it's a good card. We'll see. We'll see if people decide to try it out or not. All right, moving on. Some more on the arrival. So everybody's supposed to be getting their Spectral Oaks, so I know a lot of Kickstarter people are going to be excited about this. And then for people that aren't Kickstarters, they'll be selling these Spectral Acorns on the auction house for you. It's hard to say how much they're going to go for on the auction house. So
I have no
it's
idea.
mostly just for PvE players, so it's probably just going to mostly go for gold, I would think. I mean, what do you see?
I'll be selling mine for gold, sure. I need gold. I've already gone through like 1 million gold spinning chests for set 4, so I need more gold.
Yeah,
Sell
everybody needs more gold. Another one is a correction. So this is not a nerf or a buff to this card, but basically when they released the card, they released it improperly. We have Fury Chant was a cost of 1, and it's supposed to be a cost of 2. So there will be an update later, but I guess right now it still costs 1, and it's still working that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing it as if it cost 2 in my seals, like if I was playing it,
right?
Because I don't want to play. I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you cheated."
You want to get used to, and also you want to get used to how it's going to play, I suppose.
That being said, I have had people play it against me and
Sure.
not keeping one resource open as if they were playing it properly.
Right.
So,
well, I
be
mean,
aware, people.
You can't expect everyone to read the updates either, though. So
Yeah.
it's whatever. What's going to happen is they'll nerf it, quote unquote, or rather fix it to what they intended to begin with, and then the complaints will come out if people really care that much. I mean, this isn't even at 1. This isn't overly overpowered to me.
It is for constructed.
Yeah, I suppose it could.
It enabled the whole deck.
Moving on, we've got some other updated images for a lot of the Coyotls. I think we've talked about some of these. I don't know that I want to go into those too much. And of course, there's the Feast of Abundance coming up. We don't have a lot of time, and I'm really excited to get to the Shin'hare deck that I've been promising. This morning, basically this week, honestly, I'll just be honest with everybody, I've had to play a lot of Hearthstone because next week I'll be covering Hearthstone and some Magic for the tournaments that will be going on. Okay, and so I've had to put a lot of time into that, and so I was like, this morning, what do? I haven't played any set 4. I've got to get some set 4 stuff together, so I just hastily threw together, some stuff. And so what do I do first? I build wild because I kind of like to ramp, and it's like maybe I'll build some plants and I'll try out the new champions. And the new champion we have in wild is, what's his name? Let's see, where's the new set 4 champion?
The Blood Wild one?
The Blood Wild one, yeah.
He is called Kagulichu or something, however you pronounce it. Kagulichu.
KG. Yeah, so this guy, he basically says draw a card in not so many words. And this was also on the podcast. This is probably the most playable set 4 champion. I heard that this afternoon a little bit when I was listening to the 5 Shards podcast. But not on top of that, he's going to bury 3 cards, and then you randomly get to put one from your crypt into your hand. And so that ability is just amazing.
He's a super good champion as long as your opponent isn't playing spiders.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that yes, you'll hit spiders with him, and that will put them into play. But at the beginning of the game, most likely you probably won't hit those spiders.
Well, you can have like 30 spiders in your deck on turn 3 in this new format, so...
Right. Well, I did hear about, I did read some things on Twitter about people going whatever, 4-0 or whatever with spider decks or something, so people were pretty excited about that. But this is the champion we'll be using today. I'm really excited to play with this guy. On top of that, I started off by trying to do some sort of a plant theme, but I started to throw some Shin'hare in there, and so let's just talk about some of the new set 4 Shin'hare that we've got. Let's see, sets. We're gonna go
Cottontail Explorer.
Yeah, so this guy, super exciting. Rune Hierophant, right?
Yep, that's one of them.
This is what's going to make the deck. Honestly, this guy is so ridiculous. I didn't understand exactly how ridiculous he was. Now, in this deck, because we want a lot of recursion from the graveyard and we're using our champion's ability to throw things in the graveyard, the way I gem this guy is I threw where he's untargetable, so your opponent can't deal with him. once you drop him and you have 2 wild resources into play. So you do have to watch that, because you can play him with just 1 wild resource in play, and then he will be targetable. You do not want this guy to be targetable when you play him. Then after that, I put the gem on him for when you deal damage to your opponent's face, you get to take a troop from your graveyard, or from your crypt rather, and put it into your hand. Those 2 things together, plus the fact that he gets bigger every time you play troops, make him stupidly ridiculous. He's just really hard to deal with. Your opponent's going to have to sweep you out, and even if you do, there's a chance that you're going to play another one of these, and then you take the one that you've already buffed to like 4 or 5 from your crypt and put him back into play, and now you're back online. It's ridiculous. So this is probably one of the most exciting cards in the set for me. After I believe we talked about it maybe a week ago or something like that as well.
He's good in so many different archetypes too, because he's only single threshold.
So talk to me about the other deck you were building with him, real quick.
Well, I haven't built it yet because I'm still missing some of, like, I only have 2 of him so far, I think.
Right.
But there's definitely a Ruby Wild aggro deck where you can play it on turn 2 with speed and Rhino, and you can just be like, turn 2, hit you for 2, create a Rhino, now he's a 3/3. Turn 3, play a Royal Falconer, now he's a 6/6. Swing in for 9, and create another Rhino, and then you're just dead on turn 4. Don't even need Gore Feast. Just
I mean, you want him to be big, and it means you need to play a lot of dudes. I think that everyone and their mother is going to put Spellshield on that guy, because he's just such a huge target, and people are going to need to figure out a way to deal with him.
Well, the real question is do you want Spellshield on that, or do you want Spellshield on your Root Fathers?
Because you are playing Root Father.
I might be playing Root Father in a Ruby Wild aggro deck.
I would be.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be basically a Shin'hare deck. So the next one we've got in here is Cottontail Explorer, and this feeds into the same theme, right? So he's going to throw some more cards into our Crypt. It says when this enters play, reveal the bottom 3 cards of your deck. Same thing we did before. Put the revealed resources into your hand, and then the rest of the cards are going to go into your Crypt. Okay, so this is going to kind of like ramp you-ish. Not really ramp you, but fix you for resources. Does a really good job of that, plus feeds into the Crypt. It's interesting that all these cards are pulling them off the bottom of your deck and then throwing them into your Crypt.
It's so it doesn't screw with Prophecy, is why they did it that way.
Well, I think that it's going to be awesome, like, if someone decides to play this with Sapphire or something, where you're setting up the top of your deck, you know?
Yeah, like Winter Moon can play this without screwing up their Prophecy.
Right. Next really massive card is a resource, which is the Monsagi Lily Pad, which says gain a charge, of course, like most of the resources. It says if you have Shin'hare Allegiance, which simply means if you have it in your hand or if you have it on the table, choose one, gain blood or gain wilds, then create a battle hopper and put it into, create a battle hopper, put it into play. The reason why this is so amazing is because this allows us to play blood and wilds so easily in the deck. All right, over to you, Armies. What do you this makes the deck, right?
Yeah, this is also an enabler for like that 1-cost 4/3 that you can only play when you have 2 troops interplay that turn. Like, this makes it real easy to be like, I play this for a battle hopper, and I play some other 1-drop, and I play that, and it's just, you can get a lot of value out of cards that create cards when you're playing.
All right, so this deck's not going to be cheap by any means, because it's going to have to run some pretty high-end stuff. So on the low end still, we've got Ambusher. Now this is one of our top cards that we selected for new players to have, right? And he gets ridiculously better with this set because he's going to give you that removal you need. A lot of times, though, I found myself just hard casting him on 4.
Just to get a blocker out of the way?
No, yeah, just to kill something with him instead of playing him on 2. So maybe I need to rework the curve on the deck a little bit. There may be some room there, but I think this is a definite 3 or 4 of in the deck. I was playing 4 this morning, and it just felt like I really needed this. It's another Shin'hare. We need Shin'hare in this deck. Okay. Another big one was Monsuun. I think I went with 2 Monsuun, but you could easily go with 3 of these. It's another one you can tunnel, and he just does a lot of work. Also gets around Extinction. I originally had Extinction in the deck, and then I pulled it out because it was just so Shin'hare aggro heavy that, yeah, kind of a big deal, right?
Yep.
Monsuun also combos with a lot of these other things. So another one I put in here was Bucktooth Commander. I just went with the throwback Bucktooth. Bucktooth Commander is one where I want to establish my board state first by putting as many troops into play as I can, and then I'm going to play this guy, buff my entire board, and then swing through. Especially when my opponent thinks it is that they finally stabilize, Bucktooth Commander can put them back on the defense, and he does that really, really well. Plus, if you happen to have buried your Monsuun, they kill in response to your attack or something, and then he comes back later anyways. Seems pretty good. On top of the fact that your the guy that we talked about before, the Rune Hierophant, can also bring him back if he gets some damage in, which he most likely will. Another one was Disciple of Yazukan. So this is kind of exciting to me just because there's a chance, just like we talked about before earlier with the spirits, if you had 4 of the spirit card in your hand, you play a spirit on 1, or rather you play a, what is it called, a necrotic on 1, then you swing in, you could end up playing with lots of spirits. If you use your champion power with Disciple of Yazukan, there's a chance you could put 3 of these into your Crypt. And when that happens, it should, and I haven't had this happen yet, but it should trigger in such a way that it should put all of them into play before it puts one of them into your hand. That's the way I think it should work.
Well, they only get put into play at the start of your turn.
Oh, okay. Well, then it'll put one.
But it'll put them all that are still in the Crypt into your hand at the start of your next turn.
Right. Okay. Well, this puts them into play from the Crypt when you have 3 of them and they go to the Crypt. That's how that's how that works.
Or any troop goes to your Crypt, or any Crypt it gets a counter.
Right. So this is another great one to have in here. The 2 threshold is definitely much better because we have the new fixing from the Shin'hare shard. It's amazing what that is going to enable for us. Another one I considered for a little while was Munaro Sensei. This may or may not be something that people are going to want to play. Another one I thought about while I was at work today was Hop Hero. Maybe as a one-of, people are going to play this, but I don't know. I still feel like he's just too slow to be good in most of these decks. Another massive boon for the deck, though, is Minion of Yazukan. Just really stupidly hard to deal with, and every time he comes in play, he's going to go back and synergize so well with Rune Hierophant by buffing him, because it says whenever the troops come into play, it gives them that +1/+1. So it's just one more thing where it's like, how do I deal with this? The best way to deal with him is probably to give him minus on his back end, so that way every time he comes into play he just dies. But even if that happens, he's still going to buff your Hierophant. The only true way to deal with Minion of Yazukan is either to ignore him or to
interrupt him.
To interrupt him, or to place him out of play. That's it. That's the only things you have, and you're probably not going to interrupt him because he's getting played on turn 1 through 3.
Well, you can interrupt him anytime he surfaces with tunneling.
Oh, that's true. So there you go. There's Minion of Yazukan, and even then, it's like you just interrupted my 1-cost troop. So, yeah. I think last but not least, the last guy I've got in here is Keeper of the Wounded Petal. So this is another one that hasn't seen a lot of play in the past because everyone probably says to themselves, well, I played on turn 1. Maybe it gets to about a 3/3 or a 4/4, and then my opponent kills it, and I put all this work in, and I can't get him back. Well, now, with this deck, you can, right? So we put this guy in here. He synergizes with our champion power because it counts as putting the card into your hand if you happen to put that Shin'hare into your hand, and if someone does kill him, Rune Hierophant brings him back again. There you go. Plus, of course, he combos with your Monsuun and other characters like that. So, all in all, the deck just feels really fast, really synergistic. I think this is seriously a tier 1 deck. I think that it's here. We just need to figure out exactly where the stuff needs to go in the deck. The only thing it may be a little bit light on is some removal, but it just feels so resilient and so aggressive that I think it really has the legs to get there. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that, though, because that's just my feelings. So far, do you like it? Or what do you think? Do you think I'm going a little bit too far by saying that?
I don't know. I haven't
Armies?
played with the deck, so
That's
I'll take your
true.
word on it.
You take my word on it. I mean, I've only played it against the AI, but even then, like, I can usually feel out like how well a deck is doing and where it should be and where it shouldn't be as I'm playing. So the only thing I'm a little bit skeptical on right now is the removal in the deck. So we obviously have a Shin'hare as our removal, and then I have 3 kill in the deck right now. And then we also have, let's see, what was the other card we had in here? It was 4 of something else. It was 4 of another spell that I was playing in here. We've got the 3 kill, and I was thinking I just wanted my champion power more often. I talked to armies about this earlier, and so I wanted to run Crackling Rot, which gives you a charge and it gives a troop -2/-2. But that may not be a good choice because most
Sprout
of the time,
might be okay to give your giant Spellshield guy crush.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, to give Crackling Sprout, that might be a good choice, at least of maybe a 1 or a 2 of in here. The biggest issue I have is most of the time when things go into our crypt, we want them to go in there and then populate back into our hand, so that way it triggers the rest of our Shin'hare that we had before. Let's see, what else? What else did I have in here? Because I know I have 4 resources, so there's a 4 of card that's missing right now. I'm trying to think of what it is. Oh, I know what it is. Last but not least, the only non-Shin'hare in the deck. Can you guess what it is?
Nope.
Okay, so it was revealed on Deck Build with the Squire the other day. It costs 2, and when it goes in your graveyard, it gets +4/+4. So it makes it a 6/6.
Trufflehead.
Trufflehead. This is too good with the synergy of the deck. So the big question I had when I revealed this card was how we're going to put it into the graveyard, 1, and then how we were going to get it out, 2. And this deck answers both of those questions, right? So we've got Trufflehead. There's a chance we could put it into our crypt with two different things, either our champion power or with Cottontail Explorer. If it's in our crypt, we can then pull it back out with Rune Hierophant, and we have a 6/6 on turn 4, which is pretty reasonable, you know. And if our opponent kills it, puts it into our crypt again, it gets another +4/+4. So now it's a 10/10, and if we can pull it back again with Hierophant, yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. So I really think this deck, it just seems so silly when I think about how efficient it is and how efficient it plays. Worst case scenario, you top deck Trufflehead and you end up having to play it as a 2/2 on 2. I mean, that's par for the course for a 2-drop. So I think that it's definitely worth playing it in here. I think I had it between 3 and 4. Some other things that you may consider playing in here would be the Sacrifice, where we can draw 3 cards. You might play one of those. What's that called? Necessary Sacrifice. The only thing I see with that, or as far as a problem, Sacrifice, is that it costs 4. Well, I guess that's reasonable because we're going to get to 4 in this deck. I thought it cost 5. So yeah, this is a reasonable card. We could play this, but I think the deck's going to be so fast that we won't even need to draw the cards, honestly. So I don't know. What would you change about the deck, Armies, or what don't you like? What do you like?
Again, I like to try and test out decks a little bit before
you make some
huge
judgment
changes. Calls. Yeah, like I'd have to build it, try it out, and see what cards I like.
So anything, I'm also listening to the viewers. We're not getting a lot of chatter. I'm guessing most people are playing set 4 right now, so, you know, I understand. Let's see, let's get the shards in the deck, though. So let's go ahead and do types, and we'll get the shards in the deck. Super excited about this deck, though. I really think this is going to be one of the decks to beat, and it's going to see so much play. Let's see, and it's so crazy too because it's like Shin'hare are finally good. People have been waiting for Shin'hare to be good since set 1, and I think this is it. This is the ticket. If they're going to be good, this is the time for them to be good. Why is it type? I need type, and we need resource. There at the bottom. So we already have our regular resources. Of course, we're going to run the set 2 resource, even though it comes into play exhausted. It gets a little bit clunky. I'm actually considering going from 4 down to 2 or 3 of these, just because we really want to play things on our first couple of turns, and the Shin'hare resource does such a good job of fixing for us. I actually put more blood shards into the deck than wild. The shard count is pretty close to being even. Let's see, where is it?
But you need the double blood for the grave digging.
Yeah, you need the double blood. You need double of both, really, honestly, to have the deck fully online. Just because we need to have
Spellshield and grave digging. Yeah.
Grave digging. So that's kind of a little bit heavy. Now, you did talk about doing rhinos, so talk to the people about that a little bit while I search for these shards.
Well, rhinos is for the more aggressive take on the deck, where you could put speed and rhino in it, and then you could have that on turn 2 off of a Howling Brave, and then you could swarm the board that way. It's just an option if people want to go for a more aggressive. Like, this feels like it's going to go wider than that deck would.
Sure.
So it's just a matter of what style you want to go with.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely play Rune or Hierophant with something like Lord Alexander and be a little bit more surprising, I guess, because people are maybe going to try to focus on that Alexander, and then you play him the turn after, and you get to swing in. And then maybe even play a 1-cost something on top of that, so you can buff your Hierophant and make him a 3/3.
You can also play Stink Troll in that deck, so you can give him Crush, which lets him crush in to get rhinos or whatever it is you want to do, which pretty much every deck is just like, I want to kill you fast.
Right. The only other thing I did think about also today is I went back to the other decks that I've built that have Disciple of Yazukan and Minion of Yazukan, and maybe play 1 or 2 necrotics that can buff your guys. Maybe give them life drain, and that way, again, when we're pulling them back from the graveyard, we can have those extra abilities. But really, when I thought about it and I sat it just felt like that's just taking away too much from the efficiency of the deck and the overall, like, how fast it is. We're starting off with this champion at 21 life, which is fairly good. That's a fairly good chunk of life to start off the game with. I don't think that we're going to need life drain. Honestly, like, if our opponent's going to blow us out, they're going to blow us out and we'll lose, but it's really hard to do because Extinction's going to have a hard time dealing with this deck. Probably the best thing that you could do versus this deck is just have really high toughness troops and heal a lot, and then hopefully you'll get to the mid or late game, but I don't know. With things like Kill, you should be able to clear the way. Yeah, that's really how I feel about it. So I'm not really getting too much chatter or feedback from the channel, but yeah, I'm super excited about this deck. I think this is the ticket right here. I really do. So I don't know if you had anything else to add there, but
yeah, again, I'd have to play with a lot of these cards. Like, I've mostly only played limited. I tried a little bit of like a necrotic brew and constructed, but I only went 3 and 3.
Right.
So I haven't played much of the constructed yet.
I guess it is kind of exciting that the humans actually got a new shard as well. I was talking about this before Set 4 came out, and how it was that I hoped that humans got a diamond, ruby, and sapphire shard, and it's good to see that they finally did. So we'll probably see some good human stuff. We talked about that as well. Let's see, what else? I don't know what else I could really do with this deck beyond that. Like, I'm always trying to, I'm already trying to figure out how to optimize it, right? Because, like, I feel like the core is there, but some of the things, like I was talking about before, our champion power is 4. Honestly, I never activated it against the AI this morning more than twice. I did that 1 time, but most of the time it's 1 time per game, and I should have won by then, type of thing. I only lost 1 game, and I can't remember why the reason was. There was a reason for that. I think it was a poor draw. I actually even mulled to 5 and won a game. So it feels really good. Let's see. So, I mean, we are running 23 resources, so you may have some issues, I suppose. Let's see, what else? Yeah, like I wouldn't run Root Father in here. That would seem to be counterproductive to me. Should probably look over the Shin'hare to see if there's something I'm missing.
There aren't that many good Shin'hare, so...
There really aren't, but we're playing the best of them. You got to admit, we are playing the best Shin'hare. Other ones I considered is like, I don't know, maybe one of Merciless Color, but it just feels like it's too expensive for the sack effect. I mean, you could do things like maybe Rune or Burrower, maybe. Probably the only one that I would really consider, well, maybe two, is maybe Tormented Ritualist, but it just feels like that's maybe overcosted for what it does, and for constructed, not for limited, of course. And what's it called? Grave Nibbler. Grave Nibbler might be okay. It's a vanilla troop, really. This is basically a 4/4, and we need to sacrifice to get to it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to happen in this deck as often as other things. You know, feels like that's a whole different deck. Like that's a sacrifice deck, and that's not really what we're doing.
Yeah.
Conky Bunny, not so much. Killblade was another one that I was like, maybe. I don't know the situation, like where we would really want Killblade over anything else in this deck, though. Hop Hero was another one I was considering maybe as a one of. I don't think I would ever play more than one of these, though. I don't really see that as being a big deal, just because it's such a heavy investment. Now, again, it does fall into that category of when we play Hop Hero and we finally get him to be Hop Hero, the Samurai Warlord, the 3/3 that we can sacrifice troops.
The guy that required 6 sacrifices to get to.
Yeah, I mean, that, again, is just another deck. It's a sacrifice deck. But at least if he's at this point, we can bring him back from our Crypt with our, and I'm going to remember the guy's name eventually. I keep having to scroll up to him, with Rune Hierophant.
Yeah.
I mean, that is... If you haven't bought these yet, I'm telling you, this is the card. It's already showing right now that it's $5. This is the time to buy this card. It can only go up. This card, easily worth $10.
I mean, to be fair, it's rare. A lot of them are going to be opened. I think that it might dip a little bit lower because right now a lot of packs are being opened from the release events because it's all 4/4/4. But yeah, after this weekend, it's probably only going to go up.
It can only go up.
But don't hold me to that. It could totally not.
This is not the only deck it plays in. Like Armies was talking to me. His brew was Ruby and Wild, right?
Yeah, Ruby Wild. I could totally even see it in Sapphire and Wild deck, where you give it Flight and Spellshield and just have it grow that way, and just who cares about the major gem? Just have a 2/2 flyer that grows to an exponentially large size.
Simic likes the Shadowtail Rider. Yeah, I mean, the art is pretty fun on that one, but it's basically a 1/1 unblockable one time. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be good enough compared to what else we've got available. I mean, even Cottontail Recruiter is, you know, better, but this is, again, a different deck. This is a Battle Hopper deck. So let's talk about something else with this deck that you definitely don't want to do, and something I considered doing for a little while. And I wouldn't fault anyone for playing this, but one of my favorite wild cards is Crash of Beasts. Crash of Beasts could be played in here. The issue is it's not a Shin'hare, so when I put it back into my hand, it's not going to trigger... It's not going to trigger... it's not showing me. Where is he? Yeah, it's not going to trigger Keeper of the Wild. So it's just a super clunky card for this deck. On top of that, if it's in our Crypt, we can't bring it back with Rune or Hierophant. Our champion power puts it into our Crypt. It's just way too clunky. Now, of course, you can make that same argument for Kill, but Kill actually has some utility. Like, it gets rid of the biggest troops out there except for artifacts. And most of the time, if someone's going to play an artifact troop, it's on turn 5, you know, or 4 maybe, if they got the ramp, you know.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, like, the biggest artifact is still Eternal, what is it, Eternal Sage? Eternal, What's his name?
Sin, Eternal Sage, Drew's Colossal Walker.
Yeah, Drew's is seeing less play these days, but yeah, Eternal Sage and Drew's are pretty much the two that you're gonna see. And in that case, you'll play something else. You'll
play
probably
Reap.
play the new. You'll probably play the new removal card, which
Reap.
is at not quick action speed. It's at
It's a basic. It's Reap. It destroys target troop, and you gain the thresholds of that card.
yeah.
It's 3 cost. It's pretty good, but
pretty
it's not
good.
very good against the decks you need to interact with at quick speed, though.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, you definitely play this in your reserves, and it just comes in against those artifact decks, and it just replaces your kill cards. That's it. It's just a little bit slower, but, I mean, there isn't a single artifact I know of that comes into play by itself and attacks the same turn, right? So this gets there.
Not without like a speed socket.
Yeah, not without like, you know, either something buffing it with speed that was like a necrotic or Lord Alex or something. So I feel like this is fine as an answer to artifacts, and we're going to see this card a lot coming up. So I think we can go ahead and close out the episode. So anything else to add to the deck, or anything else that came up in your mind while we were going through stuff, or things you think I should have looked at?
No. Seemed like a good episode.
Yeah. I'm super stoked about this deck. I encourage all of my viewers to try this thing out, and especially if you were successful with this deck, let me know about it. And then if you think it sucks, let me know about it. I want to know why you think it's going to be horrible in the format, it's not going to be good at all, and I'm completely wrong. I want to know all of your opinions, and we can have a nice conversation. And there's, opinions are, everyone's got opinions, right? And I'm okay with that. So tonight on Deck Build the Squire, we did a lot of stuff, and we're going to give away some really cool stuff after the show. We had a really long list of cards that I listed off. It looks like there's only a couple of people in the channel, but they're going to get some good stuff, I promise you. We've got some, we'll give away, some pretty awesome packs and that sort of thing. We did the YouTube giveaway. We talked about some of the news, some of the Set 4 news, some of the new evolving gauntlet and that stuff. And then we built this awesome Shin'hare deck, which I'm telling you right now, episode 100, what day is this? April 29th, 2016. This is a tier 1 deck, and we are going to see it. And you're going to need to either play it or figure out how to deal with it. There you go. So, until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless your families. Trying to rage too much out there, and Armies of Mordor saying,
signing off.
All right.